All, this is Dr. Mobeen Sayed from drbean.com. Welcome to one more show. So my hair are cut off a little bit because we had the cleaning crew back in and they always move my camera. So my apologies for that. So today, hopefully a shorter session. I wanted to give you some of the context for how things are moving forward. So first of all, I'm hearing from a lot of places. For example, I tweeted a New York emergency room doctor's tweet today where he said that I have received, it was a busy Monday, but I'm paraphrasing him. It was a busy Monday, but there was no COVID patient. So he said, we are not out of it, but we are getting out of it. And so I retweeted that and I said, please stay safe. So as much as we know that we are coming to an end of this pandemic, it's going to become more endemic, but still, we still need to exercise caution as much as we can, as much as we know, as much as we appreciate, as much as we recognize. And I also wanted to talk about why I have been doing what I've been doing, because yesterday's talk touched many folks in many ways. I'll give you an example. A, a very close friend's brother has been having, so he had the booster, and after that, he's been having some symptoms for some time now. And so, without divulging too much, he he reached out to me today and he said, "This work that you do, how can I do similar work? How can I?" So he said, "I am suffering. I am sure there are so many others suffering." And he gave me examples of some of his friends nearby. And he said, "How can I start helping them? Can you guide me? Can you tell me where to find resources? Where is the data?" And for me, that was very interesting that even after 1.5 year, 2 years, there are certain pieces of information that are not widely available. And as we all know, some of these are actually stopped, they are not liked, they are censored, they are supposed to be harmful, and so on. But that was very encouraging. And I said to him, I said, you know that this is a very difficult path. If you walk this path, you will be punished on the way as well. And he said, I don't care. I want to uh, help. So I said, I'll share some links, I'll share some researches, some studies, and then from there you can start moving forward. On the other hand, there was also situation where someone took my message, misinterpreted that, or misunderstood that. Those who are not with me for longer time, they sometimes just look at one part of my talk or one talk, and then they are not able to put it in the context. And I cannot build a context in every talk, and they then try to position me somewhere. We have become so used to pro vaccine positions or anti vaccine positions that somebody who's new, they may want to slot me into one position or the other. And I have always maintained, think about it with me for a second. And we all cool beans have become that way. When I started before the COVID, I was a medical teacher. I am running a business of medical teaching. And in the medical teaching, in the books that are here, for every drug, it says here is a drug, here is a class of this drug or molecule, uh, this is the background of it, pharmacokinetics or pharmacodynamics. Here are the indications, meaning the reasons to administer it. Here is how, dose, etc. And then here are the benefits of it. here are the side effects of it, here is the toxicity of it, and here is how you manage it if something goes wrong with it. It doesn't say that there are a group of people who think this is harmful, so it may be harmful, or there are a group of people who think this is awesome, and because of that, it is awesome. Book presents data. And I have always thought that I am teaching medical students, doctors, nurses, nursing students, NPs, PAs. And for them, this is not of interest, that what is my position, what is my politics, what is my leaning. For them, what is interesting is, where is the data, where is the information, what is the information? Can you give me a reference as well to back up what you're saying? Can I just go and dig it by myself as well, and maybe understand even more for what you're saying, and maybe even find you to be inaccurate in some cases, and so on. So it is more of a scholarly forum, it's not a political forum. And whenever I bring anyone to have a discussion, at least in the back of my mind is, are we expanding our horizon a little more? Is there someone who's going to come in and help us understand medicine a little more? Is there some more evolution that we can see? So there was some misinterpretation yesterday, and that resulted in it has been a long day for me today. That resulted in a post, a misunderstanding by a friend, and then people getting um, excited by that post, having to label me, discuss me in strange ways. I didn't know all of those labels. The end result was that there were many inaccuracies in those posts, and people who were responding to it, they were really responding to the writing, not. I think they many of them do not even know me, and I here is where I stand. I'll give you my personal positions. These are my personal positions. These are not biases or leanings for you. And I have always maintained it's my personal position. I love vaccines. Within the vaccine, I love Moderna vaccine or messenger RNA based vaccines. I think these are cool new technologies. Given the new data, so this is my position. Given the new data, there are many areas of concern as well. There are many areas of side effects to be known, many areas of management. I think that a I say it many times, a wisdom for how and when and what to give for which cohort of people. For example, I think that folks who've been here for some time, they know that I say very often that we should say this vaccine not for this group for following reason, this vaccine for this group useful for following reason, and so on. And nowadays with Omicron, we all know this, that even current vaccines and their efficacies and the 2 dose versus 3 dose and 3 dose versus 4 dose, the whole thing is up in the air. The narrative is all over the place. The data is all over the place. The new data is I mean, look, Omicron is a story of this December. A total of 2.5 months for US, December or even January, so on for many countries. I also find it very interesting that there are very clear clues that we are moving towards an end of this situation. Even then, I'm seeing that some countries, including my country, we are hanging on to an older position. And we are still kind of confronting on those positions without actually seeing that, hey man, the world has changed, the data has changed, the evolution has happened of the virus. maybe us as a community as well. Some are vaccinated, some are naturally protected, some have learned how to make their bodies, protect better. And there are so many ways: social distancing, masks, remote working, this Zooms and all the, so these are all part of the structures that got established. So I have been bringing data, and not only just the data. You would actually see that many times I actually, almost all the time, I actually show references first, not even at the end, or not even say that, hey, whatever I'm talking, the references are in the description, just go knock yourself out to figure out what did I say from where. I actually do this homework. That is a respect for you. Instead of saying, you know what, take my word for it, this is what it is. Instead of that, the respect that I do for Cool Beans is to first bring the references, then I highlight them. Imagine this: studying the whole day, highlighting, so that I can scroll through those highlights and say, look, this is written here, this is written here, then drawing them, then presenting them. It takes lots of hard work to put these talks together. It would have been actually not much hard work as if I'm doing today, where I didn't prepare anything, I'm just talking about what happened today. But to actually put it together, search the studies, highlight them, draw them, present them, that all takes a lot of time. And the point I'm making is, I bring data and evolution. My way has never been to bring you deliberately inaccurate things. This is possible. For example, remember that a pregnancy study and a site that had misinterpreted that. That was the one mistake I did. I didn't do it before, I didn't do it after. And that was, I went to that blog spot. I looked at the way they had said this data is inaccurate. I used that and I presented it. And then I realized very fast that that was an incorrect um, interpretation. And I think majority of next day on Saturday, I took down that video. I did one more video. I apologized for getting it wrong and then provided the correct interpretation. And I still remember when I found out that I was incorrect, through the night, I was so worried that there are going to be some girls that are pregnant and they have seen this interpretation and they are going nervous and they may be worried and they may be thinking that what's going to happen. And I didn't sleep well. And then the next day, the first thing I did was I took down that video, did a new video, and updated it. The point is not this, that look, what a great thing I did. The point is, the intent has been to bring you accurate information, and I put myself on the spot by putting the studies out. So when I see people, and this is, I'm sharing with you the pressures on me that occur. I say it many times that I actually don't feel that my voice is so big that somebody should care to change my positions. But the pressures, somebody complained and started an audit on my company in 2020 December. And the reason they were upset was that I talked about the vaccine and clotting, and they became upset. That audit continued till, I believe, March, April, or May. During that time, we could not sell, we could not add more content, and there was that was a mess and a huge business loss. Then, in I think September or before, somebody made another false claim, another false complaint, and started another audit, which is still going. Somebody wrote a letter to medical boards. Fortunately, we were able to, provide documents that they needed to see and moved on. Somebody wrote letters to my teachers to say this person claims he has studied with you, you are his teacher, tell him that he's wrong and he shouldn't use your name. And my teachers called me and um, laughing that we are proud of you. You are one of our best students. In the King Edward Medical College's history, the most popular faces are two: my face and my older brother's face. He is also a medical teacher, and I'm a medical teacher too. He is way ahead of me. He's four, 4 years older than me as well. So, of course, he has to be ahead of me. Um, there was somebody who made a video about me and sent it over to my college and said, here is a person who claims to be part of this college. Tell him to stop. And my college, they were so gracious that not only they acknowledged that that was the message, they actually sent me a fresh document with previous year's seal on it to say he had studied from here medicine and he passed medicine and he is a doctor and is a physician. They wrote it fresh for me and sent it. The point, and there are, this list continues. And I find it strange that folks want me to take a position. I think it is incorrect to push me to take a position, to say you should be left or you should be right or you should be pro vaccine or you should be anti vaccine or you should be pro mask or anti mask. We should strive, all of us, to say, what is the data? Where is the data? Can we see more of that data? We should actually join hands, just like Paul Burke, Texas Meg, Sky Frog, Kelly, John Snyder, Schlant, uh, Bonk, there are Rima. There are so many folks who have been helping in many ways to continue to offer value to you. And I think we should actually be more steadfast in looking for knowledge, and you can then interpret it for yourself. Because I don't think that, I mean, let's leave for a second the ethics and the uh, rules of this interaction with a doctor and someone who's listening to a doctor. Even if we put that on a side, the only interaction engagement that we can have is to search for knowledge together. I have no idea what your age is. I have no idea what your race is, what your gender is, what are your comorbidities, what are your health conditions, what are your genetics, how are your parents' genetics, what is your history, your surgeries, your medicines. No idea. And neither does anyone else who stands somewhere and passes a verdict. And this is why it is actually inaccurate for me to take a position and then try to push you in that position. It is actually easier if I took a position, put a donate button on my site, said, I am against vaccines, and started promoting that. It is easier. I can, I think you will agree with me that there are many folks out there who have been giving messages where we can very easily find inaccuracies. If I pick up a position like that and I started putting actual studies out there, it will become, I'll be okay. But the thing is, that is like selling my soul. I'll tell you one area where I'm captured, and I break free of that every once in a while, and that is on this platform. The capture is you cannot speak about certain things that we all know. 54 videos were taken down. Dr. Corey's discussion with me was struck. I still stand a chance of getting struck. Yesterday's video, that is actually quite a brave move to discuss vaccine related issues with public. I think this would be the first time a balanced channel presents this kind of a message. So we'll see if we survive, or YouTube lords come in and say, no, we don't like it. The point is, that is the that is how this platform is. So either I do this, that I say, you know what, fuck it, this platform, I'm gonna say what I want to, and then they can strike it, they can shut it down, and I'll go, let's say, be an Odyssey. The problem with that is that Odyssey has not yet matured enough for me, neither financially nor operationally, to be able to say, let's just make a home there. And I have never been able to, other than saying at the end of talks that, hey, if you want to buy me a coffee or PayPal or something, the links are in the description. Other than that, I have never tried to come out and say, please support me so I can just do what I can from wherever I want to. I still feel that this work during the pandemic, when people themselves are stuck for so many things, financial, psychological, um, there is just so much of damage. I was speaking with a doctor friend and I was saying we are yet shell shocked. We actually do not know yet what is happening. Once it is over, and we will look back and we will be horrified for the time we navigated. And they will be, I think, this generation, big, small, everyone, this people who are present at this time in the on this globe, they're going to carry it till their death, this memory, this trauma, this psychological outcome. I do not know exactly how we would become changed, but we will become changed. That is for true. So, in that kind of a time, to come out and say, you know what, you should support me, I have not done that. Complaints has caused my business damage. Complaints have resulted in video strikes. I have never sat here and just whined about it, because I always thought that the way I started this was to bring the information, not to bring, here I am a Democrat. I know there are some presenters who make fun of the others. I'm a Democrat or I'm a Republican. I don't do it. I bring data, studies. Now, you could actually argue that I don't bring all data and studies, which I would agree. JAMA Network or British Medical Journal or so many others, even on their pages, written material, we cannot go through all of that. I guess if somebody can go through all of that, that is John Snyder and Texas Meg. If you look at Discord, there is tons of links there. But my point is, for a person who's doing one talk a day, it is impossible for me to cover everything. It's not snobbish of me to say I will not cover this or I will not cover that. It is just impractical. It's just physics. I cannot cover everything. But I do cover the advantages of vaccines. I do cover the disadvantages of vaccines. I do cover, this is the most important thing. Somebody said to me, when you're talking about, let's say, yesterday, why did you do that? Because there were people who were upset that why did I do that? And I said, look, think through this. My purpose was this is happening and there is hope. My purpose was not to say, let's go fight with CDCs or FDAs and say, you should just stop this. I will be immediately put in a corner and dismissed. That's what's happening to a lot. Have you seen how many of the presenters are actually saying, this is the reality? How do we now protect our people? And that is what I have been doing. Here is a vaccine, here is a possibility of injury, here is what can be done. I recovered protocols, basic foundations were mine. And since then, it has been growing. You're seeing there's a lot of work on it. Dr. Bruce Patterson's and yours work, there's a lot of work there. This was not even there at some point, you know it. So I have never tried to either milk the situation, nor I have done that I just misguide someone, and I have not taken a position. And there has been a lot of pressure to take a position, and I would still not take a position. So as so this is a uh, personality trait of mine, that people feel that I am soft spoken, so they can just have me do what they want. But at the same time, think about it. I'm a person who comes from a poor family where we used to have one broken bicycle amongst four of us. From there till here, there are some traits that are imparted by the universe that are useful, that are valuable. One of them is persistence, and the other one is to be able to continue on my path. So, my request is, and I know I cannot stop anyone from attacking or taking positions or trying to just rile up people against me or for me, but my request is to realize this channel is not for a propaganda. This channel is medical education. And I try to keep it as close as I can to that. The limit imposed is YouTube. I wish that I had my bills paid every month and I never have to be on YouTube. But that is an incorrect expectation from people whose daily life is life and death because of this evil virus. This is the time to serve. This is not the time to ask for service. So that is what I do. That is what I have been doing. I will not take a position. I will not become anti vaccine. I will not become pro vaccine. For myself, I'm pro vaccine. For you, I'm nobody. For you, I'll bring the data out. And I continue to ask, what kind of data? What should I talk further? Meaning, even for that, I have my biases, and then I try to figure out how do I bring more to you. And I'll tell you this very interesting thing. Somebody somebody said to me, so I've not, I was not looking at the Christine, and this is a very important um, thing, Nipa, values. I believe this very strongly, that if somebody doesn't have values, then you cannot engage with them on anything else. Somebody is strong, somebody is powerful, somebody can speak eloquently, somebody can present greatly, but if they don't have a value, if they're just positioning whichever way the the wind is, then you can't really trust where you're going. And you can actually challenge me and say, well, your values may have changed now. Let's say the vaccines. If you see, when I started, I used to pick up this microbiology made ridiculously simple, MMRS we call it in medicine, in medical schools, and I used to show you paragraphs from it. Or I take this immunology book and go to page number 9 and show you data from there. My fallback has always been textbook first, then studies, then on top of this sometimes my opinions. And when I do give my opinions, I say, this is my opinion, I may be wrong. I think it is more respectful towards you to do it this way than to command you to say, go do this way or do that way, and or I know for you that this is going to hurt you. That is disrespectful. This is more respectful, because somebody is serving you to say, here is data, I collected this all, I worked on it, I'm presenting it to you. So I had written this tweet as well once, when somebody said, have you finally become an anti-vaxxer? And I don't know what did they mean by anti-vaxxer. There are actually folks who are legitimately cannot take vaccine. There are folks who have many reasons for being away from a vaccine. And then there are folks like me who want to have a vaccine. So this shaming each other, I can never forget. I do not know, it haunts me. Don Lemon's snippet in which he had said that we should leave them behind. We should not care. He said something, this leave them behind is still, it haunts me, that sentence. And I used to think, how could we do this? How can we blame others? And I'm seeing that this is intensifying. Fortunately, it is all finishing. We should actually start looking forward to say, well, it is finishing. How do we now start normalizing and reduce the damage instead of fighting at this time? So, anyways, this is where I am at. Um, Please let me be me, and I will be me. Let me present things. Um, I wanted to be clear. My family members are actually very hesitant for me to talk about them. And I have been um, requesting my wife to give me permission to talk about her situation for months now. And I have been giving you some ideas here and there, that she has this problem or that problem, or uh, remember the muscle aches or tiredness or joint pains. That is how she started. And then some issues with the face, and fortunately she's almost recovered. I've never hidden that. And the reason is not to say I never hidden that. The reason is to say, here is a possibility and here is how it was solved. Solution, solution, solution. How can we help is the point. So give me, when I respect you so much, I spend my whole day to prepare for you. I spend my time away from my family to serve you as good as I can. And If you watch my videos 1.5 year ago and now, you will see an evolution of me in them. You will see I started with doodles with single lines to these elaborate cartoony things. You would see I went from presenting with that mischief program with just some scribbles. I still remember I used to scribble and say this is how doctors write, to the point of much more presentable applications. The point is, I am continuing to refine and evolve for you. That is your respect. That is an a recognition of whoever you are. You like a vaccine or you don't like a vaccine, or you like vitamin or you don't like vitamin, or you like supplements or you don't like supplements, mask, not mask, whoever you are. This is actually out of respect that I do all this work for you. I think it is important to at least recognize that I need just this much of respect to not be pushed in one corner or the other. And so, uh, this move yesterday of presenting this video, if it stayed up, I think it would be valuable for everyone. Somebody who likes vaccines, like I am, or somebody who does not like vaccine, somebody who cannot take a vaccine, somebody who's, let's say, have allergies from the past, or somebody who got COVID and has COVID's lingering effects. It is useful. It is valuable. That is at least my intent is. So I would like that we stay in this middle. I don't even want to take like Z Dog, we are alt middle. And then he goes in all directions too. By the way, he's a good friend of mine. So um, I don't want to call myself as alt middle, just medical. That is the position, medicine, presenting medicine. So this is where we are at. Thank you for listening for 40 minutes of my rant. Um, the position for Dr. Bean has always been, can we help improve patient outcomes? And this position is actually interesting because to improve patient outcome, we have to present more knowledge. But to bring more knowledge, the knowledge is in JAMAs and British medical journals and AMAs and so many places. One has to make it digestible. And there is work to be done to digest that information. The presenter, the teacher's job is to digest it first and bring it up into a more pre-digested, presentable state that is easy to understand and then easy to recall. Our doctors that would help us, that are standing next to us at our bed, can only help us if they are able to think. And for them to be able to think, they should be able to extract appropriate memory, medical concepts from their brain, from their memory, and then use them to help us. That has been my mission. I never thought that pandemic will occur. For a couple of years, the mission would actually be, what they say, uh, put, put your money where your mouth is. That mission would actually be put to test. I think so far it has been, um, at least with that intent. I have not swayed. I have not ran after money. I have not ran after um, creating fear. I have not ran after fear mongering. Even now, sometimes people say you are fear mongering. But you know that I have always tried to come up with, whenever there is some sensational thing, Omicron is an example. Remember how many talks I did in one day just to make sure we can understand what's going on together. I didn't have that knowledge from before. I was searching for the knowledge, I was digesting it, presenting it. Remember how many talks we did just so that we don't become nervous. I think even over the weekends we kept talking. So that is the intent. My position should be left unknown because it should not matter. What I decide to present is really, there are multiple factors that help me. And you can actually say that, hey, I have always wished that there was a process where cool beans could identify and then prioritize and say, let's talk this and let's talk this and let's talk. I have not figured out a mechanism. I tried with Reddit, but then I found out not everybody uses Reddit. And then I found out, remember with the ivermectin, the Redditors were just attacked and the ivermectin was attacked. So that was a platform as well, which belonged to someone else. Discord could be one. I have not been very um, efficient with Discord. Emails is just such an inefficient mechanism. Emails come and they just drown out. Patreon is a great place, but again, putting a um, survey every day is not the best approach. Meaning, if I have a process, it would have been great. But lacking that, what I do is I look at what is the most common discussion that is occurring for that day. And then I see what are the areas which cool beans can just read them and know what is happening. And then what are the areas where it may be useful to draw some of it and to present some medical concepts and kind of solidify and deepen the knowledge. That's what I do. So this is what is happening. There was a lot of there were some attacks on me since yesterday, and it is interesting that I was told before that, hey, if you talked about this particular topic, you will get in trouble. And I have now become used to getting in trouble. So of course I got in trouble, and I was talking with my wife and I was saying, before getting in trouble, everybody says, yeah, sure, I'm fine, I'll see what when it happens. But when it happens, then you actually find out that how troublesome it can be. So I was not expecting from where the trouble came. There were even debates which apparently people were discussing if my family members should have died or not to teach me a lesson. And I challenged them and I said, what the heck is this? And then they said, well, we're not talking about your family. We're just talking about general families. And I said, why would you even talk about somebody's family member dying? And then the person deleted their tweet. And so this is the kind of pressures I get. And so this is the position I have, and that is no position, medical doctor. And I'm not even doing medicine. No medical advice, no um, guidance for medicine, but presenting medicine. So, medical educator, you can call it. That's what I do. A book. If you pick up a book and ask the book to tell you if it is Democrat or Republican or anti mask or pro mask, it won't say anything. That's how I am. At the same time, because I'm a human being, I do have my biases. One, I try to disclose them whenever I can. And then I have my practices as a human being. I wear a mask, I get my vaccine. That is because I'm a human being as well. I'm also looking to be protected and safe. Whatever I feel is right for myself, I do that. That is not a disrespect for you. If you, let's say, do not want a vaccine, there is no disrespect from me to you. I actually have spent 1.5 years offering what are other things that can help. For example, I'm the one who said take vitamin D's. I've been talking about IVMs. I've been talking about hydroxy. I've been talking about stress less environment, yogas, musics, forest breathing, forest bathing, and there's so many other things. I've never said that these things should only be for pro vaccine people. Anti vaccines should not hear this. I've never said it. And so let's be that group. Um, I will keep reminding us my position and then the purpose of these talks. And I would actually request you, when the pandemic finishes, many of you will go on with your work. I would actually request you, maybe become a patron. Maybe become a patron for 3, 4 years, $5 a month. Maybe enable me to do this for medical students and for nursing students and for healthcare professionals. Maybe allow me to have this light continue as much as I can. So that is where I am at. Uh, Now, let's be here. How is everyone? I'm sorry, I did not look at any comments. Um, Rima says, forest bathing. I love that. I could scare a village doing that. Yep. Rima. Yes. I would never have been able to successfully, neither would have I been. If I was not doing this, I think even I would have been confused and lost for how things are. Before the hydroxy, before this talk of, I started my talk with that little letter which somebody had created, a fake letter with the name of John Hopkins University and saying you should take steam and sip water. That is the first time. And because I read that as well, because that had been forwarded to me as well, just like everybody else was trying to figure out how the life is going to be in this pandemic. And looked at that and I said, man, this is going to hurt people. And that is the first time I spoke about this. And since then, I have been researching and exploring and presenting. So even I am a beneficiary of these discussions. But I want to say again, I will not be pushed around. If there are folks who feel that they can write nasty or send threats or discuss deaths of family members, and that would somehow change my position or change me from presenting medicine, then that's not going to happen. So how is everyone? Sheila says you stand your ground. Yes, I was so somebody who created some problem for me today, made the day a little difficult. I said to them, I said, look, a major part of my business is taken down by a complaint by a non-doctor and a complaint on Twitter about me. And an agency took away my major part of the business. What else are you going to do to me? So this is where we are at. We are studying together. We will continue to study together as long as I can. If, let's say, YouTube shuts down my channel today, then maybe I'll have to go to Odyssey. One, number two, I'll have to figure out how to continue my livelihood. And there may be a bump in the time, or maybe I'll have to go figure it out. But as long as I have energy, as long as I have this life in me, I will continue to work. This is the mission I took. I am now 52. This is my mission. So I'm not moving away from it. Thank you. So, and thank you for everyone. You have been here day after day after day. Sometimes some introspection in front of you. Sometimes I look at my talks and I say, man, these are long talks. Um, Sometimes these are low energy talks. People say you have a calming voice. Some people say we sleep with your voice. Then people tell me that you have an accent. There was uh, someone who had actually left this comment that can you please speak in English. Then because I don't take a position, people who want me to take a position, they call me a coward. um, there are people who my this position of saying I may be wrong, this is actually then interpreted as he's not right all the time, which is fine. But at the same time, if you see the longevity of the immune system, importance of the B cells and the T cells and the coronavirus's immunity and antibodies and their waning and their longevity and 2 years or 3 years or 10 years, I was the one who was reading it from the books. I had done this discussion that the virus is going to continue to become better and better for us. That is where we are at. So even when people come in and they say, you know what, this was predicted that there will be variants. I say, but this was predicted that the variants will be really harmful and they would eliminate people and old people will get infected and die and then children would die. But this is actually becoming simpler and simpler. I wish this is a wish part. I wish it becomes so simpler that the discussions of vaccines and all that go away. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, but still, it is that is the end goal of this thing. So, this is so funny. John Snyder says, what accent? It is actually, so somebody wrote a comment saying, I had a lot of hard time understanding you, but once I became used to your sing-songy structure, I am comfortable now. So I think I have broken you all into my accent. So thank you very much for that. That is true. Somebody even said that, hey, don't say one more talk. That means the last talk was actually, it has become very true. One more talk. We are allowed one more day to talk. But um, things have been uh, good. We've worked together. We've enjoyed it. It has been a nice one. Rima says, imagine a little boy burning beds in Punjab, captivating us with knowledge night after night for 2 years. Yes, I'm the one who who burned that little cot. That was actually funny. At that time, it was scary. I got beaten up for that, and but now I look back and I think it was funny. Yes, you are correct. So somebody had today, I believe, inadvertently hurt me, my wife, um, had the this kind of discourse started where people said we didn't talk about your family's death, but they were talking about family's death. And so I said to my wife, I said, I'm sorry that I have brought you in this as well. But if you balance it out, people are losing their lives. They're losing their livelihood. There is so much damage happening. That saying, for us to say somebody misrepresented us, is a smaller complaint. So I hope that everybody is safe, sound, happy, and so I was talking with someone else. I think I was talking with Rima, that it seemed so there was a storm of very mean and cruel comments. And I was saying that the only humanity left is in Luffy nowadays. Luffy is. So this morning, it is actually funny. I put that video on Luffy channel. I was sitting in my stairs because in the morning when I opened up my messages and I started seeing what hell broke loose over the week, over the night, I was sitting with Luffy. I was sitting in my stairs and taking coffee, and I was looking at that and saying, "What the heck?" And Luffy was sitting next to me, and he stayed there for like till I was there, and he was just so cute. So I made a little clip of him and I put that on the Luffy Kairi channel. So this is where we are at. My respect to you is I will not push you in any position. My request from you for me is to not push me in any position. Take me as a medical presenter. There are ample folks who are presenting positions and presenting convincing materials for their positions and fighting for their positions and standing up for those positions. Um, my role that I took is this. So Jane says, where is the Luffy channel? So Luffy channel is Luffy Kairi channel. Can I actually find it? So if I go to Dr. Bean, so if I go to YouTube, 1 second. So let me share very quickly. So this is Luffy Kairi channel. This is Luffy and this is Kairi. And this morning I had uploaded this one. So I was sitting in my staircase and I was looking at various people just attacking and going nuts. And Luffy was just sitting next to me and he was, this is what he does. He just sits next to you and kind of do this. So this is a Luffy Kairi channel. I really loved this one. He was just sleeping here. This is this chair on which I'm sitting. He just sleeps here. And I have to request him to give me my my place back. This was funny. I was so this is in my bedroom that he has his chair. And look, if I was kind of massaging him, giving him his pets, and when I take the hand away, he pulled it back here. So that is so funny. Anyways, that is the Luffy channel. Yes. So Luffy and Kairi both are a Bengal. Excellent. So any questions? Thank you, Ravi. You're an excellent teacher. Thank you very much. Um, Rima says his goal is to educate those who are scared and fearful by equipping them with knowledge and explain what's happening. Mechanism it made me feel more in control. That is the point of it. That it gives us control. Even when I study things, I can think more about my decisions. Siddhartha says, "Lucky, lovely Luffy. Yeah, he's fun." DDS says, "Be like Luffy." Yes, Luffy has humanity. O says, "What breed?" He's a Bengal. Bonnie says he was healing you. I think so. Jim Day says Luffy in Spanish is Luffy. I hope it is a good. There's a good meaning of that as well. Yeah, he's a good therapy cat. This is correct, Svetlana, that um, it is it is actually everybody's desire to pull those that they like or they enjoy or they respect in their direction to say, take my position. It's just that even within one family, brothers, sisters, parents, children, you cannot find two people who would agree on the same one thing. Very rarely you would see that. So disagreement is actually fine. The presentation of that disagreement can sometimes be a little crude. So, Jeriel, I do not know how long that video would stay up and how long, because of that, if channel would get penalized. But I think it was a very important discussion. And I have another discussion over this coming Wednesday with FLCCC about long haulers as well. I think that is going to be very important as well. So these are important discussions and important informations that should reach people. This is correct. So when you cannot control how others respond, try and control how you respond to those. And that is why I was actually so this was an evolution in me, that in my past I would simply ignore, or I would try to push them back and say, why don't you see my position? Today, when this was happening on the Twitter, even when somebody was implying that a family member should die to create enlightenment and that's the only solution, I said, are you talking about that? What do you mean by that? And then they said, we are not talking about your family and we're talking in general. Even then, I was able to just hold a conversation instead of getting mad and saying, eventually, I discontinued with them. But it was interesting that I myself was not angry. I was just kind of trying to understand why they're doing that. Absolutely, Irene says that the this is actually, I've been thinking about this a lot. That 99% of the cool beans are here. They are we love each other and there's a great bond. What I've seen is those who are equipped with hate, they also become equipped with ways to damage. And those damages are not ignorable. For example, business damage, or for example, as I saw, some emotional, threats and those things. So there is an outcome. For example, part of my business is audited twice and thrice, and there is a lot of financial damage from that. And that is a damage by haters. So there is a part of it that I can just simply ignore. There is a fallout of it, which is just a fallout, which is very interesting. Cool. So thank you very much. Katie says, why stay on Twitter? Um, Twitter is interesting from this point of view that um, I can see the discussions and what is the latest uh, topic that people are interested about. At the same time, Twitter is a cruel place as well, because people can just be uh, crude there. And so, um, as much as it is useful, it has its own downside. Jim says, I'll take a hug. Absolutely. I'll send Luffy over for a hug. Rebecca says, late to the party. Just want to thank both. Thank you very much. So I hope that after this um, 1 hour long discussion, my position is clear. Uh, my personal positions are clear, and then my position towards you, that how do I look at my work for you, that is clear. So, with this, thank you very much. Like, subscribe, and share. This video is just 1 hour of just chatting. So, I will see if I should just delete it or leave it. But if you would like to support this work, there are links in the description. This is the only thing I do. I have no donate buttons, I have nothing. And even this part is when Cool Beans had said that, hey, some of us would like to support your work, so can you give us the link? So I made this habit of just reminding at the end that if you would like to support it, there are links for buying me a coffee or PayPal or Patreon. And thank you very much for everybody who has supported this. I have always said it's not an imperative, it's not a demand, it's not a necessity. Um, I am responsible for my matters, for my family's matters. I am responsible to figure out how to move forward, how to take care of things. Your participation is welcome, but it is not a must to be able to have these discussions. So, thank you very much. And um, so today's was not just a tweet. Tweet was a Raja. Tweet was a smaller part. There was another misrepresentation somewhere else, but generally we are fine. So thank you, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a nice evening. Stay safe, happy, and healthy. I think we are getting out of it, and then every once in a while we'll meet each other as well. I'll be here, I'll be teaching medicine. That is what Dr. Bean does, that is what Dr. Bean Medical Lectures is. And so, anyone who would like to support that work, you are welcome. You're actually just viewing this also supports it because there is some ad revenue and that helps as well. So, anyways, generally, if you're here, awesome. If you will have to become busy, then that is fine as well. Uh, I will continue with this mission and we'll go from there. So, thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, we'll pick up some topic. You will not have this kind of a rant tomorrow, and we'll go from there. Bye bye for now.